I hope you're excited because it is time for my April reset. I'm filming this a little bit later in the afternoon because I just had to spend a good hour filling out my Doodle journal for this video, and the lighting is going to be changing a lot because it's late afternoon and I just don't get good light. So apologies in advance. Welcome or welcome back to another video. My name's Abby if you are new here. It's my birthday month. It's Aries season. It's also my husband's birthday month. We are like literally less than 12 hours apart from each other in age. His birthday's on the 16th and mine's on the 17th. So I always love April just because it's, you know, an exciting month. And I also just love the feeling of a new season starting, especially with spring, just because it's literally just like a rebirth season. You can just literally see things coming back to life. The air feels more fresh. I had a moment today when I was driving home from lunch. I literally was like, oh my gosh, I have a sunroof. And I was like, I'm opening my sunroof because it's such a gorgeous day and I want to feel the sun on me. And I swear I have one of those moments at the start of every single spring where I remember that spring is just beautiful and existing is such a blessing. And I'm like, let me soak this up. We're gonna get into my March recaps, basically just going over the goals that I had set for March and kind of recapping whether or not I hit them. Try to speed through those so then I can get to the April goals and show you all how I set up my doodle planner for the month of April. We're gonna do a little reading recap section and a TBR, and then we're gonna do a quick little finance recap and check-in, which I've not done before, so I'm excited. Before we get started, be sure you are subscribed and turn on post notifications so you don't miss any uploads, and definitely follow me on my social media link down below too. Starting off with our March recap, I will put on screen kind of what I ended up doing on the dotted page that I'm given in each month. I do really like doing the recaps like this because they're easy, they're not difficult to maintain because I just do it at the end of the month, and I like using them for like reflecting purposes. I drew some cute little plants on the March page because that just kind of seemed in line with March for me. I guess we can start off with the followers on Instagram because I've been doing that the last 2 months as sort of like tracking my progress because I am trying to grow. Just trying to get my content to the people who want to see it and engage with it. That's the hard thing about having an Instagram that's literally such an old account, and it has people from like middle school when I first made my Instagram on it, and then becoming a content creator much further into having the account. I feel like it kind of messes with the growth because you have such a large amount of people who don't really engage with your content that you're posting all the time on Instagram, so it makes it a little difficult. Tangent aside, I had 25,734 followers on Instagram as of when I made this page today. A very small amount of growth. I think I had 25,711 last month, so we grew by 23 followers. Slow and steady wins the race, am I right? And then for subscribers on YouTube, I have 97,394. It's an increase of 143, so we made some good progress there with YouTube. And then instead of doing some of the other metrics that I did like last month, I wanted to do like some highlights of the month just to kind of really take a moment to express gratitude for these things. So we did get our wedding video back this week, which was really exciting. I'm just so thankful we have that to look back on and to sort of make our memories from that day last longer than just the day. Photos are great and everything, but video just takes the memories to another level. I did have a wonderful quick trip home and got some really great family time in, which I am so beyond grateful for. I swear, like every day I'm just thinking about the beach. I had an amazing month of reading. Like I read a lot of books, but I also absolutely loved basically everything I read, which is huge. And I had my first interview in forever, literally since my junior year of college. I had my first interview and I had a second interview with that same company, which I'm very thankful for, and y'all will hear me talk more about that in my vlogs. The music I had on repeat, I just kind of went to my on repeat playlist on Spotify and took 3 of the top songs, and the first one I have is Perfume by Delwater Gap. That song is so upbeat and fun, and it feels like spring to me. I don't know why. Take Her Home by Kenny Chesney. He just came out with a new album, and I saw him live last year at Gulf Coast Jam, and he is amazing live if you ever get the chance to see him. And his music just feels like summertime. It just feels like spring, like a new season. It feels like the beach and sitting by the pool, drinking a margarita, being in love, all the good things. I think that song's just been on a lot of the country playlists I've been listening to lately, and that's why it's on here, because it's not necessarily my favorite from his new album, but I do like the song. And then we have Too Sweet, which was a very anticipated release for me. After hearing it on TikTok for so long, I was like, I cannot wait for the song to come out because I know I'm gonna eat it up, and I swear I freaking loved his music when I was in high school. So I'm just kind of like connecting with my high school self with this EP. But Too Sweet is so good. Then I just did a little brand deal recap. I was gonna do like the amount I had in bookings, but I didn't feel like taking the time to like pull that stuff up. So I just kind of highlighted that I did get 2 rebooks with 2 of my favorite brands to work with, which is really exciting. And they're both like continuing contract kind of, so it's like I'll have more than one deliverable and it's for more than 1 month. One of them's for only 2 months, so not that long, and then the other one is kind of through the end of the year, but it's only 4 videos. So it's like 4 videos, but throughout the rest of the year spaced out, which I like because it's not like too much like every month or anything. Now to recap my goals from March. So the first one was to make a spring cleaning agenda, which I did not do. I did kind of start spring cleaning random things. Like I went through my closets, I donated things, I started dusting our baseboards, just doing like random stuff like that, but I did not make a little agenda for it, which I still do kind of want to do. I kind of just want to make a little to-do list for spring cleaning so I know what I want to do. Next one is finish thank you notes, and y'all better be happy because I know I've mentioned it in every single reset video this year that I need to do my thank you notes, and I finally finished them. I still need to like get stamps and put them on the envelopes and send them out, but the writing of them is done, and that's the hardest part. Now I just need to make sure I don't sit on them for like 3 weeks and don't send them out because I'm just not wanting to go get stamps. One of my goals that I have been just not achieving month over month that I've had as a goal since the beginning of the year was to do a social media detox day. And I finally did one in March, and I did it on a Saturday. And that Saturday was just like one of the best days I've had recently. We had like a wedding to go to that day, so it made it kind of easy in terms of like I wasn't wanting to just like sit on the couch and scroll on social media. So it was just like that took up a lot of my day. But that whole day, like I painted my own nails, I went on a run with my husband, and then I went to one of my favorite places to get like a smoothie bowl and coffee, Mamaka Bowls, if you know, you know. And then I read outside while I was sitting there. I went to a few thrift stores, and it was just a wonderful day. And I just felt so much less mentally strained, and I just felt so much like less mental clutter, and I was so much more present. So I kind of want to integrate that like once a week, but I know that that would be like a big jump to go from like never doing it to once a week. So right now I'm going to stick to once a month still, and that's definitely still a goal in April. I don't think I have it written out in my April goals, but it still is an April goal. The next one is to film the first home video, which I know I've been talking about for our home series, or the home series that I'm wanting to film. But y'all, furnishing a home and decorating a home is so expensive, and I'm sure you know that, and we're just like not in a place where we can just like buy everything we want when we see it. And I want to be intentional with what I'm purchasing. I don't want to buy anything that's too cheap, that's gonna just like, you know, fall apart or break or just look really bad. I want to get things that I know we will like for a long time and that will be good quality. And I've been looking on Facebook Marketplace every single day for literally over a month for a dining table, and most people just either don't respond to me because I need to know the dimensions because I can't get anything too big, or I just can't find what I'm looking for the table. I didn't get the first home video filmed, and I really can't get the first one filmed until I get that little breakfast table that I'm on the hunt for. But I'm determined, and I have faith that I'm gonna come across a table soon. The next goal was to keep our plants alive, which our plants are doing so good. I did have to move my Hoya plant upstairs, and it's in my office like in here now, and that's just because it was starting to look a little droopy on our bookshelf downstairs, but I think I am going to repot it because I want the really pretty pot it's in to be downstairs on the bookshelf since it's so gorgeous. I want everybody to see it when they come over, even though literally nobody comes over ever. But our spath plant downstairs is doing really great, and it's growing 2 flowers, which is amazing. So I love that. I'm doing great as a plant mom. My goal was to attend a book club, which I did do, and my friend Katie Mundy went with me, and I'm so thankful she did because it was just like so much fun, and I was like so much more at ease going to it knowing that I would have a friend there. All the girls I met there were really sweet, and it was really fun. Like I don't know why I was stressing about it. I was just scared of being like new. I just had a cider, and we sat outside, and the weather was really nice, and we talked about Ruthless Vows, which is the book that the book club was for. And we also just talked about like a lot of other books and like TV shows and things like that. And it was just really wholesome and fun. And I mentioned in a vlog, even if like you don't meet or make close friends per se with people in a book club, it at least gives you a really good sense of community and belonging, which I think a lot of us are lacking in our 20s, especially if we're like living at home or if we work from home and we just don't really get out of our actual home much. The next thing was to try a new place in Houston, which I did do. I actually tried 2 new places this month. So the library, which is a wine bar here in Houston, I went there with my same friend Katie, which y'all should follow her on Instagram if you're not. We went to the library. I had orange wine for the first time. It was delicious. We tried their food and it was really good. It's such a vibe. It's a really cozy wine bar, but it has like books everywhere and it's just so cute. And then today, which it's still March, but I'm filming this, but I went and tried Boss Cat Kitchen and Libations with my husband on his lunch break. Once every other month I meet him for lunch, and it's just kind of nice because it gives us some time together during the day that we don't typically have. And I'd like to keep that up, maybe not once a month, but like once every other month, how we kind of have been doing. And usually we go to like a fast casual place like Sweet Green, but we were like, let's try somewhere new today. Like we're feeling it. And they kind of had like a really cool indoor outdoor vibe, but it's very, very pretty, very cool. And the food was amazing. So I would love to go back for like a dinner or a brunch, but I'm gonna try that place today too. The next goal was to finish combining our finances, which we finally have done. We finally have like our joint savings. I've transferred all the bills that were coming out of my account to go out of like our joint savings. It was quite the process getting everything transferred, and it was very time consuming, but we did it, and it's combined, and it feels good, and it makes budgeting a lot easier. And while we don't like very super strictly follow our budget to a T, we do have one, and we definitely use it to see where we're maybe spending too much or where we have more wiggle room, and it helps us know how much to save, especially with me having a very volatile income. Next goal was to read 2 books and to annotate my first book, which I did. Here's my Ruthless Vows book. I did annotate it, as you can see. I just got some tabs. I already had these, but I used the little tabs, and I got these from a set on Amazon, and I highlighted some things, and there was no like rhyme or reason to my coloring. I didn't really think about that at first, but I did want to do colors that kind of matched the book's theme, which is obviously blue. In terms of when I use like a dark blue versus a light blue, there was no rhyme or reason, but I did highlight some spots for quotes and everything that I really liked. It was a lot of fun. I really feel like annotating a book makes you slow down and savor the book more, especially if you're used to reading on a Kindle. I have a friend, one of my old work friends, she mainly reads, like only reads physical books, and she has a Kindle, but she only uses her Kindle when she's traveling. And I think that that's like such a good way to do it, because you kind of get the best of both worlds by doing that. You have the Kindle when it's convenient, but then when you're not using the Kindle, you can read the physical books. But the only issue I have with that is that if you're somebody who likes to lay down when you read, reading on a Kindle is a lot more comfortable than reading a physical book. And also, I tend to do most of my reading at night, and especially when I'm like already laying in bed. So when it's dark and my husband's sleeping, it's better to have the Kindle. But I did read more than 2 books. I read a lot of books, which we'll get into in the reading recap. The next goal was to refresh my closet, especially based off of figuring out kind of like my color palette. And I said in my March reset that I'm pretty sure I'm like a deep autumn. I feel like when it's the winter time, I lean a little bit more neutral, but then when it's summer and I have like more of a natural tan going on, I have more of like an olivey warm undertone. So in the summer, I definitely think that the autumn color palette works best probably. I feel like I can kind of do either deep spring or deep autumn when I don't have a lot of a tan. But I did go through my closet. I sold a bunch of stuff on Poshmark. I donated a bunch of stuff, and I feel like I could still keep going through my closet, but I did go through a lot and got rid of a lot, which was good. I really kept in mind what colors like do work well for me when I was cleaning out my closet. The next goal was to get ahead on content, which I did do for the little spring break I took with going on vacation. And then last but not least, I alluded to like needing to make some decisions and things regarding my career in my March reset video, and I just kind of put a little squiggly line next to this one because I kind of did. That was like kind of a blanket statement for a lot of things when I said that in the video, and one of the things I was talking about was figuring out what to do with my podcast, because in March I did decide to pause my podcast and kind of just put a stop on it. As of right now, I don't see myself coming back soon just because I don't want to jump right back into it so quickly. I'm very, very intentional about what I do and what I spend my time doing, and I just don't want to do it just for the sake of saying, oh, I'm still doing it. And a lot of you guys have recommended things to me, like maybe doing like a book club podcast and all of these things. That was one of the things I was alluding to. So I did make a decision with that. I did, kind of announce the break, and I've been on a break from it for 3 weeks now, I believe. But I was also alluding to a lot of other things, which it was kind of just like applying to jobs or doing some part-time things. Now jumping into the April goals and setting up my April doodle planner, I guess we'll start off with how I set up the doodle planner. So I don't know what it is, but the first 2 pages of every month in this freaking doodle planner, I absolutely butcher it. I think I get overwhelmed when I look at it because it's just like a lot to color in, and I'm like, oh, there's a lot of things, so that means I can use a lot of colors, and the colors don't necessarily always go good together. And I don't hate the April page, the introduction page. I don't hate it. I think I could have done without the neon yellow and the purple flowers though, and just done like red, pink, and orange, and it would have looked a lot more cohesive. I do kind of hate this page though, the don't worry, you'll grow beautifully in your own way. I was originally going to do every word a different color, but then I realized that just was not going to look good. I should have just stayed to the same like undertone, because now it's like warm colors, cool colors, warm colors, whatever. There's just too much going on color-wise on this page. But when I think of spring, I think of pastels and tons of color, so that's kind of what I was going for with this, but I didn't execute very well. And then flipping to the monthly spread, I actually do really like this. I wanted to kind of keep it pink. When I saw this theme, I love it. I love tulips, and they're just beautiful, and I love all the flowers. But it's so funny because when I saw the tulips, it just made me think of the tulip emoji. So I was like, I want this to look like the tulip emoji. So I just did the reddish color for the month, and then I only stuck to one color for the flowers because that just seemed to be what I wanted to do after the chaos on the page before. And then I just put tax day and our birthdays in because those are like the only things we have going on this month that I know of. Habit tracker and mood tracker, I like how this came out. I decided decided to do like yellow. It just makes me think of like spring and pollen and stuff. So I did that at the top, and I remembered not liking doing different colors for habit tracker and mood tracker last month. So I kept the same color there. Mood tracker coloring is always going to be chaotic just because I don't have 5 colors that are within the same family to make it like look aesthetically pleasing, since I'm working with like 12 markers. But I did keep the pink tulips all the same color on habit tracker. And for the habits this month, I kind of did a combination of my favorite habits that I've tracked from the last 3 months, which are coffee at home, exercising, reading, eating at home, posting on TikTok, sleep 7+ hours, not getting on my phone for the first hour of the day, journaling, and posting on Instagram. And I will say for journaling, last time I did that, I literally only colored in one day because I only journaled one day, but I'm reframing that meaning to mean like doing my devotional or my 5-minute journal too. Like either works. I've got my goals here on my Notion, and I also have them on my goals page like I usually do. But going into the April goals, so the first thing is to do a proper spring cleaning. I don't want to do anything too crazy and be unrealistic here, but there are some things that I like definitely want to take care of that I've been putting off for too long. I want to pull everything out of our fridge, throw away anything expired, wipe everything down. I might redo like our primary bedroom closet situation just to maybe make it work in a way that like works better for both of us. Desperately need to clean out my trunk of my car. I have so much crap in the back of my trunk, and a lot of it just needs to be like donated, things that I just haven't donated that I need to donate, or things that just need to be thrown away. I want to finish cleaning the baseboards. I want to like clean out our microwave, our oven, clean out our dishwasher filter, which I am so scared of doing because I know it's going to be disgusting. We don't put plates or anything in the dishwasher that have food on them. Like we rinse everything and then put it in the dishwasher. We have no idea what the people who lived here before us did. So I'm really freaked out. The next thing is to keep working towards getting our home in a position where I can film my first home series video, but also just hang things up. We have a lot of things that I need to just hang up. Like we have them in their place. They just quite literally need to be put on the wall. So I want to do that. And I also want to replace the prints in some of the frames we have. For example, in the office, I have 2 little prints over here, and I think I want to replace the prints above our bed, but I might do something completely different above our bed. Basically just hanging things, replacing prints, that kind of thing. The next thing is to find a dining or breakfast table. We really just need a round table that's no bigger than like 35 inches in diameter and can sit 2 people. And then of course, filming the first home series video once I get that done is part of that goal. The next one is to put less pressure on myself on social media and really just post more casually and authentically. March was a little bit of a rough month for me on social media. I just constantly found myself not necessarily comparing to other content creators, but just looking at my own content and feeling like there was something wrong with it, and just feeling like I can't find my place on social media just because Instagram seems and feels so curated and so aesthetically pleasing, and I try to post reels on Instagram 4 times a week. And then TikTok, it's like the opposite content does well on TikTok. So it's hard to kind of like have those 2 mindsets, to be, you know, like aesthetically pleasing and curated on Instagram, but then on TikTok to be very like chaotic and casual. And I want to maintain authenticity across all platforms and all my social media, but I think I've just been putting a lot of pressure on myself, and I got in kind of a headspace where I didn't even want to film short form content and film like little vlogs, because I just feel like my home's not as aesthetically pleasing and it's not very bright. It doesn't get a lot of natural light, so it just doesn't look as good. Our home can be like a total mess sometimes just because we get really disorganized throughout the week, and then telling myself that since it doesn't look a certain way, I shouldn't even like record it or post it. And ultimately I was just being way too hard on myself. So I really just want to, you know, put less pressure on myself and just really just show up how I want to on social media and be a lot more authentic. I want to try a new place in Houston again. I kind of just think this is always going to be a goal every month, because it's something that just makes life a lot more exciting, and it makes you like love where you live more when you make a conscious effort to like try new places and see what where you live has to offer. Whether it's a coffee shop, a bar, or even a bookstore, or a place you go shopping at, a restaurant, it can be anything. But I think trying a new place, it just adds a little bit of excitement and it breaks up your routine a little bit. I have on my goals to read 3 books in April, since I read a lot in March. I think I'm gonna up it to 3 books in April, because typically I just say 2 books a month in order to meet my goal of 25 books for the year. But I'm gonna up it to 3 books because why not? The next one is to prioritize sleep. I feel like I've not slept very good in March at all. I don't really know why or what it is. Part of it's because I've been like staying up later to to read and then just waking up at the same time, so just not getting as much sleep. But then I've also just like not been sleeping as good, so I kind of want to look into ways I can improve my sleep a little bit more. Maybe getting earplugs so I don't really wake up when like Griffin's alarm goes off before mine, or when he gets up in the morning. And I don't always wake up when he wakes up, but a lot of times I do. Or when I wake up when I hear Ella moving around, that kind of thing. The next goal is to start brainstorming for the bedroom refresh. So I'm really wanting to refresh our bedroom space, and that's going to be also part of the home series. We're hopefully getting rid of like the shutters on our windows soon, because they just make the room so dark and just feel so small and depressing. So hopefully getting rid of those soon and doing something different over the windows for like a window treatment. I really want to get a bed frame, but we don't want to break the bank on it, so kind of looking into that and just thinking of the overall vibe we want in our room. We want to get a new dresser too, because we just don't really feel like ours holds that much, and we would rather have like a wide dresser than a tall dresser, and we have a tall dresser right now. So kind of just brainstorming the overall vibe that we want, but then also just like maybe brainstorming the pieces that we can start planning to get, so we know what we need to save for. And the next goal is to have a great birthday and to make Griffin's gift. I want to make something sentimental for him, because I previously, like up until our 3rd or 4th year anniversary, I always did something like pretty time consuming and sentimental in terms of a gift for him on our anniversary. For his birthday this year, I really want to make like a collage on Canva that is representative of a lot of like our favorite things and some of his favorite things. I can put inspo on screen that kind of like inspired me to do this, because I saw a girl on TikTok, she like made something in Canva, but it was like of her favorite things and she framed it. And I want to do that for Griffin, and then maybe I can like just hang it up somewhere in the home. So I'm thinking about doing something like that, but I would love to do like a sentimental gift or something, because I really do love gift giving and I love making sentimental gifts. So as far as plans go, we typically just like get a group of friends together and we'll go out to dinner somewhere and then go out somewhere. But I don't think we're going to do that this year. But we've already kind of agreed we will just get dinner together, and then we may kind of just trying to think of what we want to do for our birthdays realistically. That's not going to be like too crazy. If he wasn't studying for the exam, I would so want to do a staycation somewhere close by in Texas that's like driving distance for like a night or two. And I think that would be so much fun, but we can't really do that because of him studying. He literally has to study like every day. It's basically like how I was when I was studying for the CPA, except he's having to work on top of that. Last goal is to get some new plants. So since I've proven to myself that I don't kill everything I have, and I did a lot of research when it came to like watering and taking care of the 2 plants I do have right now, the Oya and then the spath plant downstairs. I really want to get a snake plant and put it in our bedroom, because I just heard amazing things about it helping your sleep actually, so that can align with one of my other goals. So I would love to get a snake plant and put it in the bedroom, but I also want to get one more plant to put downstairs on the bookshelf. That will be good in a very low light situation, so maybe like a ZZ plant or a snake plant down there even, and get a different pot. Now for the reading recap. So I finally finished Air of Fire, which I have been reading since January, and took me a really long time to get through it, and it has not been my favorite of the Throat of Glass series so far. It's actually been my least favorite of all 4 books that I've read so far, which I have read Throne of Glass, and then I read Crown of Midnight, then I did Assassin's Blade, and then Air of Fire, and Air of Fire has been my least favorite. So I have kind of been putting off jumping into Queen of Shadows, which is the next book. I kind of just told myself I would read it once it's available on Libby for me, and it's not available yet. Let me see when it estimates it'll be available. It says 16 weeks, which is like 4 months. I don't know if I'm going to wait that long, because then I'm not really going to remember everything. I may just end up buying it before then. I'm a big seasonal reader, so I really like to read like beach reads and romances during the spring and summer. Then I read Ruthless Vows, which I did love. I had a lot of mixed feelings about it. All of my reviews for these books are on my Goodreads, which I will leave linked down below. I don't want to give any spoilers in this video, but Ruthless Vows was good. It just wasn't great, and it didn't live up to Divine Rivals in my opinion. It was still a very cozy read, and it felt very enchanting and magical, and I loved a lot of things about it, but there were just also a lot of kind of plot holes for me and things that just left me feeling a little confused at the end of the book. So I gave it like 4 stars. And then I read Swift and Saddled. Swift and Saddled is the 2nd book in the Rebel Blue Ranch series by Lila Sage, and I'm Lila Sage's biggest freaking fan. I read Done and Dusted soon after it came out last year. Absolutely fell in love with it. It's just like a cowboy romance, and it's so good. It has like a good amount of spice, but the friendships in it are really great. I love the found family trope in it. So far in both of the books, it's been like forbidden romance, and I kind of love forbidden romance tropes. I love Swift and Saddled because I actually think I liked the male main character in Swift and Saddled more than the male main character in Done and Dusted, which was the 1st book. And typically with series, when they have continuations and you end up diving into some of the secondary characters' lives in the next books of the series after falling in love with the main characters in the first book of a series. I have a really hard time liking the additional books as much as I like the first one because I typically don't like any characters as much as I like the initial characters I'm introduced to. It's very Golden Retriever and Black Cat energy with the romance and Grumpy and Sunshine. Lila Sage just does a really phenomenal job of having a very fast-paced prose, and you don't ever really feel like things are slow even when you're in those in-between moments. They're so easy to fly through. I love the length of her books too. There's never too much extra fluff. I never feel like the books need to be shorter. If anything, I'm like wishing I had more. The cover art is to die for, and I know there's going to be a third book too, so I'm just super excited. And then I read Off the Hook, which I've seen nobody talk about, and I don't know why. It's by Julia Olivia, I believe, and it was a 5-star read for me, y'all, like a flat 5 stars, and I can't tell you the last time I had like a true 5-star read. The romance is very Grumpy and Sunshine, and I just loved that it was about adults who like are facing real adult problems. The male main character is a single dad, and he has like some trauma to work through. I feel like the book really dealt with grief very well, and all around just a really great book. It's a great summer romance to read. It's based in a small beach town, so it's like a small town romance and everybody knows everybody kind of vibes. I absolutely ate it up. I read it in like 2 days and it was so good, and I actually think the second book literally comes out today, or it came out yesterday. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm gonna be reading it, so I'm super excited. And I just fell in love with the characters in the book. It was so good. And now I'm reading The Right Move, which is the second book of the Windy City series, and that is by Liz Tomford. I have had so many people say that The Right Move is their favorite. When I read Mile High in January when we were on our honeymoon, that was like the first one I read. It was kind of like during the time when Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift were like very still much in the news, and I guess they still probably are. I don't know, I'm not keeping up with it as much, but they were, you know, very much so at the forefront of the news and everything with their relationship. And the book, the first book in the series, is literally about like a star hockey player, and then she's a flight attendant. So, but in that book, I just pictured the main guy to be Travis Kelce, and I don't know, it just like fits. I feel like the guy in that book, his personality fits what I imagine Travis Kelce's personality is like, and I absolutely loved the romance in that book, and I loved that book. It was like a 4.5 for me. And back to my point about never loving the second and third, fourth books in series as much as I love the first one, because I normally just fall in love with the first characters I'm introduced to, and then I have a hard time accepting that I need to read other perspectives in the rest of the series. The Right Move that I'm reading right now, which is the second book in the series, I am loving it more than the first book, and I loved the first book so much, but this one I'm just like eating up because there's so much tension in it. So good. The spice is amazing, and the guy in it, oh my gosh, everybody was telling me that he's like one of their favorite book boyfriends, and I have to agree. Ryan Shea is freaking amazing so far. For my TBR this month, I'm only going to go over 3 books that I want to read for my TBR this month just because they're the ones that I like know for sure. I'd like to read Queen of Shadows. I just don't want to wait too long to pick it back up. Out with the Tide, the book after Off the Hook by Julia Olivia that I just talked about, which is the Never Harbor series, and the second one is called Out with the Tide, so that's also on my TBR. Then the third one I want to read is Caught Up, which is the last of the Windy City series that I just mentioned. I would also honestly really like to try and reread, I think it's Reckless, the Elsie Silver series, and whichever book is the first one in that series, I think it's Reckless. I started reading it this time last year, and I ended up not finishing it because I just was really bothered by the main character. She was so annoying to me, but I kind of want to power through it because everybody says the second book in that series is like phenomenal and to die for, so I'd like to read it, especially just with how much I love the cowboy romances. They're so good. I did want to go over finances a little bit. Our budget is really weird because I kind of set up a different budget each month depending on what I bring home every month, because it's completely different month to month just because of being a content creator and having a very inconsistent income. I kind of just plug what my take home is into this Google Sheet file that I have set up, and then it automatically allocates what I need to put into my extra savings outside of taxes, and then allocates what I can budget for things like shopping or for eating out and things like that. I kind of just plug that number in every month, and then those numbers automatically allocate, and then I update the budget according to that. So for March, I did want to share the things we were like over and under on. I don't think I'm going to share the exact amounts I budgeted for everything just because it does change every month, so it's not a totally accurate representation. We went $80 over on like gas and car related things, which Griffin's gas is a lot more expensive than mine since he drives a truck, but I know that I did fill up more this month than I typically do just because I was doing a lot more this month, like socially, and I was kind of driving around a lot more. Our fixed bills and utilities were perfectly aligned, so didn't go over or under there. Entertainment, we are 145 under, which is pretty good. We went to the rodeo, but that was like all we did this month in terms of like entertainment type things. Honestly, our budget for this one's a little high. Like I could probably adjust it, but I kind of like to take whatever we don't spend in the entertainment category and then put it into like our travel sinking fund, since travel is technically entertainment, you know. I'm surprisingly under on coffee. I'm $51 under, and I attribute that mainly to my mom. She bought my coffee like 3 times when I was at home, and I budget $100 a month for coffee, which I feel like is pretty realistic, but I kind of have strictly set myself back to only getting coffee on the weekend, so I guess it makes sense that I'm under. For groceries, we're $17 over, which is honestly pretty good, but when I think about the fact that I was not here for a whole week, that tells me that we spent a lot on groceries. But I will say we did eat at home a lot, like when I was home. Like we've probably eaten out between lunch and dinner a total of 5 times this month, so definitely spend a lot on groceries, but like we eat them. For eating out, we went $32 over, which technically we're probably like $82 over because of lunch today. That's definitely not in our budget yet, which the thing we use to budget, we do it through something my husband has through his job, so I don't really know if I don't think it's available to everybody. I think it's available to him and us just because of him using it in his work. But it was also a heavy month with eating out because when we go home, we typically eat out more, and I like to go to the places that I don't get to visit more. And like when I'm meeting up with friends, I'm going and getting food with them usually. So a little bit more expensive there because I ate out a lot when I went home. And I usually like to buy either like dinner or breakfast or lunch or something for my family when I'm there at least one of the times. And I did buy all of our lunch one day, so that also factored into it. And for shopping, I kind of had a lot budgeted to this, and I kind of just use it as like a catch-all for anything. I knew that we did not need to be spending a lot shopping wise just because of knowing we have big expenses coming up with taxes, and then knowing we have our patio door, the second payment we have to do for that. So we were under on shopping, but we were trying to intentionally be under. And I had a lot budgeted to it just because of that automatic allocation from the percentage of what we made in March. That is everything I wanted to share with you all for this April reset video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Be sure to give it a thumbs up if you did. If you made it to the end, comment a balloon emoji, and no, it's not because of my birthday. But I love you all. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to subscribe like I said so you can stick around for the rest of the resets to come and for all of my other vlogs and content. Love you all. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all at my next video.